going.
All right, part 2 of carving the feathers in, and where we're going to start is with a green stone that's square at the tip. I don't know if you can see that or not.
It's about all I can do.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so with this you want to start at the furthest back feathers, and see this back of the bird is going to lay on the wing, so I've got to come in here and just give it a little bit of dimension here. All right, and this feather is going to come out. Probably hard to see with the camera.
Yeah,
You'll see it better when we get further up. One thing I should show you so it makes sense is you have these quills here that have to come in. Done. So you'll see these coming through. I don't, oh. Okay, it's going, oh. Yeah, it's going again, yeah. What's the what? As long as this is running, you're good.
My finger must have...
Oh, your finger was in front of it? I don't put the quills in because I pretty much know where they're at.
You'll have to edit that.
Yeah, these quills, so, but these barbs will come off of here like this, and you'll see me, that's what I'm doing. I'm stoning this area to give it some dimension. And we do that before we burn. So. And I like to bring the feather down to the flat as much as possible, because otherwise we have to undercut. And for this toolbox, again, it's not an art piece per se, so you have to kind of make some compromises. I don't know if you can see what I've done there, but you can kind of see it's giving it some generally speaking, what I like to do is stay with, when I'm kind of set up, I like to stay on one side and then do the other side. So let's just go ahead and do that. Now I'll turn it around and do the other way. I'm actually doing a little shaping as I'm stoning. You'll see me kind of hit an area harder, like right here. You see I've got a little bit of a ridge, and I want to bring that down and let that feather just lay right down on the next one. Sometimes I want a hard edge if I want to undercut, but otherwise usually, you know, it's softer. Can you see the dimension it's giving to the feathers through the camera?
Yeah, you can.
You can?
Yeah, and you can see the texture coming in too.
Yeah. So, yeah. So we'll just continue with that.
It's amazing how little you have to take off.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That.
With low relief carving, you know, it really doesn't take a lot.
It looks like a lot more than it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's deceptive.
Yeah, it is. And you can move along, you know, fairly fast.
Yeah, that's what I'm pretty amazed at this.
Person doing the camera work is Robert Babbitt, who's come by and hanging out with me, and you. So anyway, this is what I'm going to be doing all through this thing. I'm shaping and putting these barbs in, and so actually, Robert, if you want, you could pause it here and then we can show the burning.
We're recording.
All right, so we're going to move into burning the barbs in. We'll give you a chance to get a look at the feathers. Hopefully the light catching the stoning that we did there, so you can kind of see the feathers a little bit. Yeah, it's showing it. Yeah. Now, I was explaining to Robert off camera, and this is kind of important. If you look at the eagle, let me see if I can lean this up a little bit here. If you look at the eagle, and you always have to be going back to your reference, these feathers are kind of pointed and they're white, right? And if you look at the ones around the cape and the back and the chest, they start getting more rounded. I don't know if you can see that or not, but here's a golden, but it's basically the same. See how they're more rounded? Oh, is that
the light?
You're still on there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, see how they're more rounded? So the shape of the feathers is important. See how these are more pointed? And on the eagle, the head feathers are very much pointed. Okay, so knowing that, when you go to your carving, here you can see where the cape and the back, this will all be brown from this point back. All of this is white. Now, white, when you paint it, if you burn it, it's very difficult. You have to put a lot of layers of white paint on this. And this just happened to work in my favor where the head is white, the body is brown, and so all I'm going to do is just stoning on these feathers, and this will come out real nice. There will be no burning on the head. And I'll be able to paint that where it looks really nice. And I'll do a video for you on the painting part, because the painting is really like everything. It's the final thing, and it's what everybody sees, and if you mess that up, then it's messed up, you know. So you got to use, you know, 3 or 4 different values of a color, like on this white. It won't be just painted white. I'm gonna mix this white with raw umber, and you'll have dark areas and shadows and lights and stuff like that. So we'll talk about that when it comes to painting. But here's the feathers. You can see the dimensions of them. So now we're gonna move on to burning. We'll grab this burning pen here. let's see here. Am I caught? Yeah, kind of. All right, that's good enough. This tip, I don't know if you can see it, kind of like a razor tip.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we'll start at the back of the bird here. Let's start, we'll start with this one here. So we're going to come and we're going to start, well, first we've got to put the quill in here. And then we'll start putting in the barbs. Now, as opposed to the stoning, this process actually takes a while. And this is how it comes off and you can see this is what actually makes the feather look more realistic to where you want to touch it and say, hey, that's not a real feather. Now these feathers overlap this one. So you want to, this is an opportunity to put some splits in there where if you have a difference in color, you can highlight that. But in this case, it's going to be all brown. That's the way eagle is. That's why I didn't burn in here, because it's going to overlap. Okay, now I can come through. And you'll go back and you'll see areas that you missed or whatever, you know. You just pick them back up.
How much pressure does it take?
Similar to writing with a pencil.
Are you using the whole flat edge of that? Or
Mm-hmm.
just the
Yeah,
point?
well, I'm getting in with the point and then pulling on the flat edge.
Okay.
Yeah. And you got to get your temperature set right too. You know, you get it really hot and it'll burn. You'll see some over here where I wanted to do a little more heavier burning.
Right.
And you'll see it's darker. But this is what it's basically about. I don't want to bore everybody and lose them.
You're
But
15 minutes.
okay.
Just so you know, I mean,
Yeah.
so you can time what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, I think this, you know, this is not a treatise on how to do this. This just kind of gives you an overview. So yeah, that's basically, so I'll go through and I will do this to all of the feathers along here and make this wing look like that wing. And of course this will all be brown with highlights and darks and shadows and things like that.
Yeah, because you can see in here, looking at it closer, that you have darker places
Yeah.
here.
But I'll do most of
here,
that
and
with paint. And I'll paint this with oils because oils have a really good depth. And
how many coats?
it depends on the color.
Okay.
Yeah, with the brown, maybe a couple coats, but you have to remember I'm using different values of the same color.
Right.
So I will be, starting with a medium value, and then I'll put a lighter, value in some areas, a darker value, and then the tips will get a lighter, kind of, that's just the way the bird is when you look at them.
Sure.
You'll see like lighter,
Yeah.
you'll see if you look at the bird, you see how this is dark and there's light
The
at
light
the end.
edge.
Yeah. If you come over here, the more further you get back on the feather, the lighter it gets. And each feather is a little different. It's just almost like your skin. You don't have just like one color. You have
Right.
different pigmentation and stuff, and the bird is the same way. So you got to pick that up. If you paint in one color, you've got a very flat appearance. Even when I do this flag, the white will have a couple different values. The reds will have a couple different values. The blues, all of that I play it back and forth.
Do you use those values to get the depth?
Yes, yeah, and dimension, yeah, because that's more realistic. Yeah. So anyway, well, thank you for hanging out with us today and learning a little bit about carving. Even if you're not interested in carving, hopefully you've learned something, and maybe if you've never done it before, you can get an idea that it is approachable. You can do it. It's I wasn't born with the carving gene per se. I learned how to do it. I taught myself basically. I went to wildlife shows and started carving and entering pieces and things like that. So it's it's doable for anybody. And it's just like anything else, starting, building your skills, and to the point where you can do work that you're really happy with. So maybe this has inspired you to go and start something, do it yourself. And that would be great because it's a really fun pastime.
It's a great way to increase your quality time with that wood that's getting so expensive.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. Well, and it can raise, like instead of just being a toolbox, even though it's a nice toolbox, I've taken this and given it something different. I've given it some I'll call it artistry. I don't know, some may not, but it gives it a different dimension, a different level. So,
For sure.
yeah. Anyway, so on the next video, we'll do some painting. I'm not there yet. I've got areas to clean up. I've got feathers to burn. But we'll get there, and I'll share it with you. All right. Thanks for hanging with us. Like,
Thank you, Mark.
subscribe, comment.
Thank you, Mark.
Take care.
A wonderful video.
Thank you.